Today on the channel, wrestling fans are buzzing with the Killer Bees Jack's Classic Superstars Tag Team Series 8 unboxing and review.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Jack's Classic Superstars unboxing and review. And today on the channel, we've got from Series 8, the 2-packs, Toys R Us exclusives. We've got B. Brian Blair, we've got Jumpin' Jim Brunzell, we got the Killer Bees. But for all your modern day wrestling figure needs, make sure you're hitting up Ringside Collectibles. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10%. Got to get a deal out there. And the Killer Bees, no stranger to the Classic Superstars line, as we did also get them in their single carded series sets, and then this tag team set. So we got two versions of B. Brian Blair and Jumpin' Jim Brunzell with very, 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 very small differences, and we'll talk about those here in a second. We're going to do this review like we do all the other ones on the channel, kind of. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're not going to have to unbox it, as I already got these guys unboxed, and we'll see where it goes from there. So without further ado, let's see what old Jumpin' Jim Brunzell and B. Brian Blair are up to. Looking like the Killer Bees would only look with those masks in the packaging here. Of course, if you remember back to their solo card releases, same exact figures, no masks. Instead of masks, they got headbands. So that was the difference between the two. Man, that's pretty crazy there. But it is Jack's after all. We saw that a lot in the Ruthless Aggression, Treacherous Trio, Adrenaline line. Reuse, reuse, reuse. Just kind of unfortunate they had to waste a spot on the Killer Bees in the single carded release. I'm totally fine with this release here. I think this is perfect. This is the way it should be. For the single carded ones later on, I would have passed on those. Would have been great to get that Arnold Skolland or that other Vader even maybe instead of these, but it is what it is after all this time. But it is the Killer Bees at the end of the day. This is what I think of when I think of the Killer Bees with their masks and their kind of bee-inspired gear, I guess you would call it. And then, of course, Jumpin' Jim Brunzell and B. Brian Blair there in all their glory. But Class Superstars packaging, we know it, we love it. On the side, a little glamour shot action. Then we got the old Killer Bees over there, just killing bees left and right. And on the side, or on the back, I should say, got the big cross sell here. Giant Gonzalez, Harvey Whippleman, an all-timer. We got Jerry Lawler, Andy Kaufman, an all-timer. And then you got the Killer Bees, which isn't bad either, though. The Killer Bees up top, got the tail of the tape, got the little blurb. Let's see what it says about our old friends, B. Brian Blair and Jumpin' Jim Brunzell. Jumpin' Jim debuted 1972, AWA staple, as we all know. Weight 234 pounds, 5'9". Finishing move, the drop kick, and some to this day would still say he has the greatest drop kick of all time, especially in those days, man. Jumpin' Jim, he was truly jumping up for that drop kick. I always thought Jumpin' Jim Brunzell, when the Killer Bees kind of disbanded, he kind of became a jobber, kind of like a Paul Roma type. And I always thought him and Coco Beware would have been an amazing tag team. I think they should have done that. Coco Beware, Jumpin' Jim Brunzell would have been really good. The birds and the bees, I mean, it writes itself, doesn't it, at the end of the day? But they never went that direction for whatever reason. B. Brian Blair, debuted 1977, 235 pounds, 6'1", finishing move, that dreaded sleeper hold. Oh, watch out. And some say Brian Blair's matches will put you in a sleeper hold. I'm not saying that. B. Brian Blair's a good guy. I've met Brian Blair quite a few times. He does a lot of good stuff in this day and age, as we do know. But there it is. Going to put this off to the side, as I do have these loose, as I did say. And I got them right here. We're going to look at these accessories first. We do get the two masks. We got the yellow and black attack, almost looking like the Assassin's mask, if you're familiar with the old Assassins tag team from back in the day. But very cool mask here. Soft goods mask, go right over their heads. Display them with the mask on, display them with the mask off. Choose your own mask adventure is what you can do here. But it was always interesting to me that they would put the masks on mid-match, and it was like, oh, I don't know who it is. They do kind of a little trickery on the referee and stuff. And I could always tell the difference between the body styles of Brian Blair and Jim Brunzell. It was much like Axe and Smash and Crush, maybe back in the later end of the Demolition Run. They'd put the masks on too to try to fool people. They weren't fooling anybody. I don't know what was going on there, but it was an interesting gimmick. And that was the first time I remember this, the old switcheroo type thing. We later saw it with the Bella Twins and others. But to me, the Killer Bees were the first ones to do it as far as I saw as a little kid. But there's those two masks looking good there. And then we're going to dive in. I guess we'll start it off with old B. Brian Blair. And I don't care what you say, this is a fabulous head sculpt. This looks all day like Brian Blair. If somebody handed me this, I'd say, yeah, it's Brian Blair. There's no doubt about it. I mean, one of the best head sculpts. Now, I know not everybody's a huge Brian Blair fan like a Hulk Hogan and stuff, but there is no denying this one looks identical to Brian Blair. He still pretty much looks like this to this day as well, so good for him. Got the nice mullet flowing back there as well. Can't beat a good mullet. Articulation-wise, we'll walk through it once here. Arms do go around, bicep cut, single joint, almost said double, single jointed elbows, back and forth on the old hands. Brian Blair got the old fist. He's ready to take on the Sheik. If the Sheik does a run-in, if he tries to make him humble, he's got a fist ready to go. You got the wrist tape there, the Killer Bees wrist tape with the yellow and black attack. You do get waist articulation. Legs go forward, bend at the knee, ankles back and forth, and that's all you do get there. You do get the knee pads, of course, with Brian Blair here. You get the Striper-inspired gear as well. They're huge Striper fans, the Killer Bees, of course. But looking good. At the end of the day, a fabulous Brian Blair figure. Brian Blair, I believe, is signed to Powertown. I think they have said they're going to have a figure of him. It'll be interesting to see how well a Powertown Brian Blair sells. I, of course, will buy it if it does come to fruition, but we'll see what happens with that. Don't expect a Mattel Elite from Brian Blair anytime soon, it sounds like. Same thing with Jim Brunzell. I believe he's also signed to Powertown. Of course, Powertown, deep roots of the AWA back in the day, making the Remcos. Jim Brunzell, an all-timer for the AWA, an AWA Hall of Famer, some may say. But looking good here, old Jim Brunzell. But once again, all day long, I know this is Jim Brunzell. Somebody hands me this, man, that's Jim Brunzell. One thing I should say, I talked about in the single card release, they had the headband. These, they do have the mask. I would have liked to seen the solo releases instead of the headband, or really honestly with the headband, they should have had those Killer Bee jackets. That's what should have been with the solo card releases. Much like Axe and Smash got all their kind of entrance gear in the solo card, they should have done that for the Killer Bees as well. Wasn't in the cards for whatever reason. We do got the white wrist tape here on Jim Brunzell. Articulation, going to be the exact same as his partner, B. Brian Blair. Same pants, same everything. I mean, it is the exact same figure, just painted a little bit different. There's not a whole lot of difference between these two, really, at the end of the day. I mean, it is the same thing. Body style at the top is different. Brunzell's a little bit thicker, I will call it that, where Brian Blair's a little bit more cut up. But besides that, you get the same lower half of the bodies on these two, the exact same one. So very, very interesting figures. Very cool to get the Killer Bees. They're one of those kind of, I don't know if I want to say deeper cut tag teams from back in the day, but definitely made an impression. They were part of that big Survivor Series. What was it, 10 tag teams against 10 tag teams? Just a wild, wild match. Too much going on in that match, even for little Kyle as a little kid renting that on VHS. But cool to get the Killer Bees. I'm happy we got them in the Classic Superstars line. I just wish we would have got maybe this pack and not the other one and got some fresh blood into the line in one of the other ones. But neither here nor there at this point, and we'll see what the future holds for these two. Will they get figures in the future? I have to believe Powertown will come through. I guess fingers crossed for old Powertown as I'm currently filming this May 1st, 2023. What a time to be alive. This, of course, goes up early on Patreon, and then traditional YouTube probably gets it about a year plus later at this point. But what's your thoughts on B. Brian Blair, Jumpin' Jim Brunzell, and the Killer Bees? All in, all out, pick them up back in the time, or back in the day, I should say. Well, let me know your thoughts on these two. Let me know your thoughts on the Classic Superstars while you're at it as well. Of course, you made it this far. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell, as we got videos every single day, and then some, and even more content like this on Patreon. If you're a Patreon member in May of 2023, you got this as it debuted. If you're not a Patreon member, you're seeing this like a year plus later, like I did say. So plenty of perks over there to be a Patreon member, and best of all, you do support the channel and all of its content. You can also support the channel at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson, and don't forget social media, SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. So for the Killer Bees, I am Kyle. See you guys all real soon.